Andrew, thank you for joining me to share your Pacific Connect journey. Could you just start by giving a bit about your background and letting us know how you came to be involved in Pacific Connect?
Sure. Thanks, James, and nice to see you. As I just said, nice to see you clean shaven.
It's a truly rare event.
Great. So the interesting part, I suppose, of my background is that been married for quite a long period of time. I've got two teenage boys. One's in Canberra, just started with doing philosophy and politics. Another one in year 10. I love wine, I love politics, I love global events. As you probably know, I love to talk. I used to love to travel. I hope to travel again at some point when the deadly COVID lifts itself. But so that's sort of me personally. The more boring bit, I was initially trained as a lawyer and then spent many years as a banker. But I think these days those sort of formal qualifications are they're still there, but they're in the background. I think it's much more important that I try and do things because I'm curious, I'm optimistic. Hopefully, I like to think that I'm a caring sort of person, and I also like to what I do. I like to mash together so that I don't put boundaries between what I do. And it's sort of in that context that I'd been working with Peter Fritz at Global Access Partners for probably 15 years on various public interest matters. And when he raised Pacific Connect with me and the International Centre for Democratic Partnerships, I'd had a small but long history in the Pacific, so it was something that I jumped onto, and was really privileged to become the inaugural ambassador for Pacific Connect.
It is an esteemed title, one which I have most recently picked up myself.
So you know that it's the grand title you get when they don't pay you any money.
I think Christopher Pine, who also holds the title, you were there, described it as that's right. But we're very happy to be here. I know why I'm here. I'm here because I get so much out of it, and thanks largely to your introduction to the program. But why is it that you chose to take up that post, this esteemed post as an ambassador to Pacific Connect in an unpaid capacity?
I think it stemmed. I mean, if you go right back, Australia's near neighbours are largely unknown to most Australians, and the Pacific as a region, a significant number of sovereign countries which are on Australia's doorstep, and so there was an inherent interest there because they were close, very different cultures through Melanesia and Polynesia, and so I had an interest early on just because of the nearness, but so far away. My original contact came through music. As the banker and lawyer, I also have a passion for world music, and I met through serendipitous circumstances a guy called David Bridie many years ago, who's quite a well-regarded musician in Australia, but has done more philanthropically over a huge period of time. And he's the founder of an organisation called Wontok Music Foundation. It's been going for 20 years. We've got a fabulous collection of Melanesian music with artists from Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, the Solomons, Vanuatu, etc. And I've been on that board and treasurer for many years. I love the music, I love the people. I was also privileged to be the chairman of Westpac Papua New Guinea when I was at Westpac. When I left Westpac, I was offered a position as non-executive director with Kina Securities in Papua New Guinea. I've been on that board for a few years. And so the idea of joining Pacific Connect enabled me to put the cultural development piece and the piece that is looking to develop civil society through the region together with my commercial and musical interests. And I've just taken up an additional role as chair of the ICDP Foundation, which hopefully will raise money and allow contributions to valuable projects that get introduced through Pacific Connect and ICDP. So it's a pretty broad connection, James. And as I say, I like to mash everything together. And if one thing can inform another, then at least from my perspective, you get better outcomes.
All right. Andrew, I'm just so grateful that you introduced me to Pacific Connect. I had absolutely no idea what it was when you gave me the call and woke me up from my bed one afternoon when I ought to have been working, and sent me off to Papua New Guinea. That really has transformed certainly my sense of self, but also, of course, my understanding of the Pacific and how important it is that we do connect with our near neighbours. One frustration and a reason that I met you was through one of Westpac's Asian exchange scholars programs, and they seem to jump over the Pacific to Asia, and I think that is an issue, and perhaps one that we jointly feel is something that shouldn't be necessarily done by Australians. You spoke briefly to the One Talk Music Foundation, which I'm fascinated by. Are there any other projects, whether or not related, that you're really interested in the Pacific through the Pacific Connect program?
I think, James, my role is more as a facilitator, and I've facilitated a number of dialogues through Pacific Connect, both remotely and in person in Papua New Guinea, also in Tonga. And so what I find is the joy that I get is by bringing groups of people together that largely haven't had any connection at all before, and being able to create a safe environment for a discussion which, if you do it right, generates some magic. And the magic comes through the interchange of ideas and the bouncing of views in a safe, respectful way. And if I can sort of play a small part in facilitating that, then the people in the dialogue are the ones that come up with the ideas. And so we've had ideas that have been generated in all of the dialogues that we've had, and dialogues that I haven't been involved in have also led to some pretty interesting projects. The Less Than a Container Load project in the Solomons, the augmented reality project in Samoa. And so I would say that I'm interested in all of them, and the role that I can play, because I'm curious and connected, is with the other participants of Pacific Connect. We can we can connect people with other people that can help to progress the idea or the project. And hopefully, we're still at early days, but hopefully through some other initiatives, including the foundation, we can get these projects right through to implementation. If they're commercial projects, commercialisation. If they're public policy projects, through to implementation, where we get an improvement in the, or a progression in the civil society dialogues through the Pacific, which seems to be the demand that's coming from participants. So I find that incredibly stimulating and rewarding. And I get to meet a whole heap of really interesting, nice people.
Look, I completely understand why you want to be a part of it, and I share a lot of those feelings, Andrew. You're speaking to your role in facilitating the dialogue, and you are an amazing facilitator, and you certainly know how to capture the magic of making people feel safe enough to speak.
I'm feeling a little bit embarrassed now, James. Thank you so much for that compliment.
I'm a big fan. But I do think that there is an element of responsibility on the dialogue participants also to bring the right mindset, and part of that is the what we've been describing as the ask and offer that we're encouraging everyone, all delegates and dialogue participants to bring along with them. What would you say your ask and offer would be to the community?
I think the ask is to bring your whole self, and to consider the event or anything that you participate in as a safe environment. We did have a few, I would say, not so much teething problems initially, but there were some, there were some cultural mores which we found restricted people's ability to share and trust. And so we try and spend quite a lot of time building that trust. And it's why the network is so important to continue, because you develop trust through working with people. And if you develop trust and a safe environment, then it opens the doors for, as I said before, for the magic to happen, for people to share generously. So my ask is to share generously and bring your ideas and contribute. The second ask is, and this is actually harder, is to say, well, bring your ideas and then stay the course. Because I think sometimes it's easy to think that there are other priorities. These only work through self-motivation and mutual reinforcement. So bring your ideas, stay the course. My offer, as with the other ambassadors and participants, is we're here to try and help you achieve the ideas, aspirations that you have. We won't always be successful. We don't have money, but between all of us, including the people in the Pacific, there probably isn't anyone on the planet that we can't connect with. And so that's the offer.
It's a great offer. It's one that I have had the benefit of. If people were to want to take up this offer with you personally, Andrew, how would they go about connecting with you?
Look, it's probably just as easy on LinkedIn. I've got my details are on LinkedIn, email, phone, WhatsApp, SMS. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I don't like them. I don't use them anymore. So that's probably not a great way to connect with me. But phone or email is absolutely fine. I know that's very old school and it's showing my age, but that's the best way to get me.
Andrew, thanks so much.
Or I could say Zoom, Google Hangouts, you know, the window, the 18 different video platforms that I've used in the last 6 months.
I was slightly concerned that we wouldn't be able to work out the technology, but I was really concerned that it was me that wouldn't be able to work out the technology. So I'm glad you say that.
I was very concerned as well, knowing your background, James, which we won't go into on this video.
No, we won't. Andrew, that's all that we have time for today. Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to meeting everyone at the Ideas Exchange.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks, James. Really appreciate it.